Attention SMP artists, are you looking to take your business to the next level? It's time to fully systemize your studio for growth with the ultimate sales and marketing platform for SMP artists, HighLead. With HighLead, you get everything that you need to save time and effortlessly generate more consultations and bookings on autopilot. And guess what? HighLead is not just a system, but also one of the largest Google ad agencies in the world for SMP professionals. Imagine having a marketing strategy that's tailor-made for the SMP industry, driving high-quality leads right to your studio. Say goodbye to the struggle of finding the latest marketing trend. HighLead has you covered. Invested into your training? Check. Invested into your equipment and studio setup? Check. Now it's time to invest into your marketing strategy. Don't risk your marketing budget on anything else until you've experienced HighLead's growth system and Google Ads services. Don't pass on this special opportunity for listeners of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Visit GoHighLead.com today to book a free demo now and join the hundreds of SMP artists who've embraced HighLead to thrive in their businesses. On the free no-obligation demo call, a member of HighLead's team will answer all of your questions and help you unlock the potential of your SMP studio by getting you more bookings. Visit GoHighLead.com today.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. I am your host, David Santiago, and in today's episode, we're going to take a deep dive into social media and content creation. Our guest is the founder of McCue Studio Productions and video strategist. He is a personal friend of mine and who we use here at Scalp Solutions to step up our short form content. So without further ado, let's jump into the interview. Welcome to the podcast, my guest, Peter McCue.
Thanks for having me, David. I'm Peter McCue, video strategist, founder of McCue Studio Productions. It is such a pleasure to be here, man. I'm looking forward to it all week. I love it.
Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to jump on the podcast, and you're going to drop some gems today for, the SMP industry, for the community. And before we even get started, this is going to be the first time that I do this. And I know we spoke about this behind the scenes and you were like, Dave, you sure you want to do this? Because I know in this industry, a lot of guys like to keep certain things secretive, especially who they're using, for certain things that are proving to help them in the business, and it's working. And I get DM'd so many times, Dave, what is it that you're doing for social media? Can you help me? X, Y, Z. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my guy out of the dark, out of the shadows, and, bring him on the podcast and, let him loose to the industry and those that want to utilize his services. And we're going to get into all that later. But again, thank you for, agreeing to do this, Pete. So before we even get started, let's just go right to the very, let's give them a little proof of concept. Can you share with us your journey and how you even became a content creator?
Yeah, so to kind of backtrack, way back when I was in college, I actually wanted to be a dentist, believe it or not. So it's a little different from the content creation world. And everyone laughs at that story because they're like, dentist? Well, it's a little different from what you do now. This I found a big passion, and I loved filming, loved editing, everything. So once I got out of college, I said, I want to be able to stand out and do something different. How do I do that? I love helping people, right? So, and I love being able to create content for people. But what happened back then was so many videographers, they just create a video and then that's it. So then the client's like, all right, now what do I do? How do I make this successful? So then that's where I said, boom, video strategy, video strategist. That is what I need to get myself into so I can say, all right, we're not only going to make this video, we're going to make a strategy for you to make sure we explode your business to the next level and make you aware more than anyone would. You would stand out like no tomorrow, my friend. And that's what we do at McCue Studio Productions. We make your brand stand out like nobody else.
That's right. That's what they do. So that's crazy because so was this an overnight like, was this something that just like, it was like, yo, I have an epiphany, boom, this is it, I want to do video? Because wanting to become a dentist, that's not something that just happens out of nowhere. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta really put some thought and like, this is it, this is my passion. And then to just go, okay, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Go to a whole other level, a whole other industry, a whole different learning curve.
Yeah, my first job in the world was like at a pediatric dental office, and that's where I had my passion working with kids and etc. But once I got into all those courses, organic chemistry, I don't suggest it. You don't want to take that stuff. I
Sounds
took some media courses, and that's where I was like, this is second nature. I'm quick, I'm fast, and my creative mind just exploded. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I don't regret it. I love it. And I'm here, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't change my mind.
outstanding. That's awesome, man. Thank you for that. So now let's get into what was it that sparked your interest in social media marketing and content creation, specifically for SMP artists in particular.
So, SMP, it's very, very particular. So it's a small amount of group of people, right? So it's not a huge industry yet, but it's starting to get up there. And that's like the type of clientele. It's like when you have that specific niche to that deep level, that's where you can really bring out the creativeness when it comes to creating content, because as we know, social media is all over the place with videos, but you don't see SMP much. And especially at that diverse niche, just to see it getting ready to explode. I love being right there when it's like that volcano is going to blow up. And that's what's about to happen with SMP on social media.
Hopefully, it's us at the forefront. No.
Exactly. That's why we've been working our butt off, right, David?
Absolutely, man. We definitely have. And how would you describe some of the unique challenges that you faced by SMP artists when it comes to the online presence? And I know I'm putting it out there as a SMP artist, but obviously now, guys, if you're not catching on, like I said from the very beginning, like this is my guy. So what were some of the challenges, Pete, like when you were, working with me and this industry?
Exactly. So it's like, all right, so we think about where do we start because it's such a specific niche, and how do we bring so much interest to a certain level and degree where how do we attract people when this is something not many people think about? It's more of like it's like when you want to buy like a specific car. It's like Lamborghinis, right? They're very specific, they're very expensive, but that they do that for a reason. So how do you market something so specific and something so particular? And that's where the challenge was because, initially S&P, you don't really think of, when you're working on your scalp, you don't think of that. You're just like, what is S&P? And that's what we have to define. And that's what we've been doing is defining this is what S&P is all about. And it's a lot more than just um, really breaking it down to really the level of we have to bring the brand of SMP tenfold by using social media because that's where every age demographic was at. Not on YouTube, not on LinkedIn, but all on all the short form social platforms because our attention spans are this small, and that's where we had to make sure we have to make SMP fun and exciting, and that's what it was about, and that's where we turned that challenge into a success.
Yeah, I remember, and I still have it to this day on my whiteboard. One of it's not a quote, but it's just as a reminder is of how do I make scalp solutions fun, exciting, and cool. And that's always been like, all right, every time we do something, that's why it's like, I mean, naturally, I'm just I'm a charismatic dude. I'm a funny guy. So it's kind of like, how do we bring that over now to hair loss and to SMP where it attracts the client? And I know that was one of the big ones, like sitting down, right, when we're starting to make these content, how do we continue to incorporate that? So can you share an effective social media strategy that you implemented for me as an SMP artist?
Well, one of the big things was how do we attract attention on social media? And it's all about the visuals and the audio. So when it comes to that, you see so many more captions popping up. You see, like look at our different background colors, it's all about making sure we're standing out on that screen and filling the screen. So it's not so much shooting horizontally, but vertically, especially on social media, because that's one of the ways to attract the eye of all those demographics out there on social media is being able to shoot, and I'll show you my phone this way, opposed to this way. Because if you shoot this way and you pop it on social media, you're gonna have two fat black screens, and I'm not gonna want to watch that because it's not filling my screen. And then the other big important part is captions. Captions, they need to pop, they need to be quick, and you just need to change the angles and when you're shooting, and it's a matter of you don't have to have two different angles, but just pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. Just that little subtle movement, it just something it does to the eye that it just says, I want to keep watching because there's something changing on the screen. I don't know what it is, but I want to keep watching. And that's where all these little things come into play, and that's what makes social media just that more exciting.
Yeah, I remember sitting down and talking with you about this. And actually, for those of you that know me, you guys know that I enjoy cigars. And this is exactly where I met. We were at a cigar lounge. We were just doing our thing, and we met through a mutual friend who is another gentleman that I use. And he's the man behind the branding. And he introduced me to you. And I'm getting off tangent now. I don't even remember where I was going with the whole cigar. What did you just say that? I'm talking about we were at the cigar lounge. Oh, when you started telling me about everything that goes behind creating the content. You gave me the whole like the phone doing it this way and this angle, XYZ. We got to zoom in, jump cuts. And I'm looking like, man, I thought it was just going to be as simple as just sitting in front of the camera and just talking and being myself. I didn't realize that there's bunch of all these other like psychological things that you need to take into consideration too, and spans like, oh, you got Dave, we're gonna have 3 seconds to get someone's attention and want them to
Right.
really want to know what the hell is hair loss, let alone a hairline tattoo. Like no one wants a tattoo, a hairline XYZ. So I was like, wow, okay, we got this is gonna be a challenge. um how do you keep up with the ever-changing social media algorithms and the trends to benefit, your clients overall, not just me?
Yeah, just overall, one, it's all about tracking, what we're posting, who's watching it, at what time. And it's also a matter of, seeing what's the most popular thing going out there. Like, there's all these different trends, and that's what TikTok has done for us since 2020 is create these wacky but interesting trends, and that's what people want. And so a matter of, keeping up to date is staying on top of statistics, like what's the percentage on TikTok or what's the percentage on Instagram? And that's what I've noticed is it's ever changing. Like TikTok dropped actually over the last few months, and there's a little tip for you. Instagram is starting to push back up there again because of everything going on with TikTok. Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and Facebook, those are like the top three contenders where it's a matter of, you have to figure where you're going to find your best demographic. That is where you need to start first. And that's, it's a matter of saying, okay, we need to look, keep an eye on this every single day because it could always change in a matter of seconds. And we want to be ready and on top of that.
Yeah, because I mean, you can go 1 month is kind of like, oh, Instagram is it. The other month is TikTok is it. The other one is Snapchat. And I say TikTok, we have the TikTok. I got to start. I know I've already gotten the talk like, you're not posting on TikTok. What are you doing? You're wasting money right now. You're not using these videos XYZ. I know I'm not leveraging them all yet. I'm kind of
Yeah.
been a little bougie because IG and YouTube has been taking care of me, but that's gonna change, guys. That's gonna change. So, what platforms have you found the most beneficial and why? And let's talk about just SMP specific with what you've been doing with me.
Yeah, specifically, it's definitely Instagram and YouTube, no doubt. TikTok, like you mentioned, we need to get you up on there more. But those are really those top three is Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok, because that's where that type of demographic is at. I would say to rank them in order, I would say it's Instagram, then TikTok, then YouTube Shorts. Because I know YouTube Shorts hasn't been around as long, but YouTube's been around for decades at this point, and they're just trying to make sure they're still the number one contender. And with TikTok and Instagram, that makes it tough for them. So that's why I say Instagram and TikTok are definitely just above YouTube Shorts, and those are really the two places you want to be because that's where the demographic is for SMP. It's Facebook, you're not finding your SMP demographic there as much, even though Facebook owns Instagram. Your best bets are between those three platforms.
Yeah, I feel like in Facebook, I only get hit up by like really older gentlemen that are like, what the hell is this? You know, I've been bald for 40, 50 years. And then you explain something like, nah, not happening. Um, so as a, how can an SMP artist, and I put this question here for you because I get it all the time. And I I give them, I have a set answer that I give them. I didn't ask you this. We didn't even talk about this behind the scenes. So I'm interested to see what you're gonna say. But how can SMP artists differentiate their work from others in the same industry on social media? Because at the end of the day, we're all pretty much doing the same thing. We're tattooing hairlines,
Exactly.
someone's scalp. You know, there's only so many different hairlines that you can do. There's only so many different techniques or styles that you can say, oh, I'm the only one who does this. So how, what advice do you have? Like, how do we separate all the SMP artists from one another on social media?
I would say the biggest thing is ask yourself, what is your brand? What are you trying to represent as an SMP? And whenever you're posting anything, even if it's not a video, your specific brand has to be attached to that. Because, like you mentioned, there's still a lot of SMP artists out there, but you need to make sure your brand is solidified and your brand is, there's brand awareness that's throughout, what you're trying to, put yourself out there. It's like when you go to a Stop and Shop or a ShopRite, you know which two are different is because they're very branded. There you see the two different logos, but it's a grocery store. They're both the same. They sell the same stuff, but they're branded differently. So that's really the key. If you take something like that, again, it's like going with a car. All cars drive point A to point B, but they're all branded differently. They're made maybe a little differently. So that's why brand awareness is one of the most key factors when it comes to any business overall, and then specifically SMP artists, is making sure your brand is performed effectively throughout each post. Because when you have something consistent, you'll be able to know, oh, this is David's. I know this guy. I mean, his brand is right there. We see it in his post. Like every single post, his brand is there. And that's what's most important. Making sure your brand is very much visible and very much aware to your target demographic.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just give you like my little spin when a lot of new, especially SMP artists, ask me the same questions. Like, you know, the industry is getting saturated. You know, how do I separate myself from you and all the other big guys, Jerome, Scalp Micro, all the, like, what is it that I do? Or, you know, again, it's too saturated. And I always tell them, I had a gentleman one time in a networking event tell me this, and he was like, Dave, if you go into a wine store, right? Go into one of these big wine stores down in the city and just take one wall, look at it. You're going to be looking at about 200 different bottles of wine. But if you are a wine enthusiast, you know what to look for, and certain ones are going to stand out. And you're going to also have different price points. You're going to have a $10 bottle of wine. You're going to have a $7 bottle of wine. You're going to have a $50 bottle of wine. You're going to have a $300 bottle of wine. Pay attention to those. Look at them. Then he turned it into like like something for me to do. He was like, I want you to actually go into a wine and look at it. Look at the difference in branding and the marketing on the bottle that costs $300 with the one that costs $7. And now you can see how it proves that, you know what, yes, you can be in a market that people say it's, saturated, which I don't think SMP is a saturated market. Like, yeah, a lot of artists are popping up, but the question is, are there a lot of good artists? Right.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? So like
Quality over quantity.
exactly. So like, yes, there are things that you can do to essentially like really stand out, and that branding and the marketing is definitely gonna be one of them. And I encourage you guys, go do that. Go to a wine store, look at all those bottles, look at the different price points, and then look at the ones that stand out, and then look at the pricing associated with it. Look, you see what they're doing within that industry to stick out, and now you can try and take that and bring it over to the SMP world and go, okay, well, so what is it that I'm gonna do now to stand out? Doesn't necessarily mean you got to bring your pricing up, but it's just like, all right, what am I gonna do differently? And I just want to take it back real quick. When I interviewed Majestic, shout out to Majestic, I asked him what does he do, and he was like, I got one word for you, and it's identity. You have to have your own identity. You can't be, oh, I want to be like Scalp Solutions, oh, I want to be like Jiro, oh, I want to be like Taylor Perry, XYZ, because you're just going to be the next, oh, he's like that person. Like, you have to find your own brand identity and start pushing on that. Holla at my boy Pete, then he'll help you go into the next level. So
There you go. I got you guys.
shameless plug. You see that? So what are some common misconceptions or mistakes that you see other SMP artists doing in their social media strategies? Because obviously, with working with me, right, you had no idea what the hell SMP was, so you had to go down your little rabbit hole and go, all right, well, what is everybody else doing? What the hell is SMP? How do we convey this message out there? But in the midst of that, I know, because we've sat down and go, all right, you see what this guy's doing? Hell no, we're never gonna do this. But I want you to, what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen?
Hey you guys, we are excited to share with you some very exciting news. We have created an online training platform that you can do in the palm of your hand.
With over 20 modules and nearly 80 lessons, this is the most comprehensive and detailed scalp micropigmentation course out there.
For those of you who can't travel here, maybe you're in other countries, you can now learn from your computer, you can sit at home, you can sit in a bus, and you can learn scalp micropigmentation with the greatest innovators in this industry.
Want to learn more? Click the link below.
Yeah, and they're pretty quite simple too. It's about shooting, with professionalism, because we see, yes, the phone footage can be very good, but it also can look very bad. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen is we downgrade to this iPhone or to a phone that can shoot in 4K, but it's a matter of the user, and they actually shoot it properly and make it look incredible, because there's so much that goes into creating a really great video opposed to just saying, all right, I'm going to shoot this. It's wobbly, but they get the idea. Let me tell you something. No, we don't get the idea, because I'm distracted from all the wobbliness and trying to keep up with what I'm trying to watch. And, my tips is either contact your boy or just shoot very, very short video. I mean, like 10 seconds. Keep it quick and simple, and let the idea be easy and digestible enough for your audience to be able to understand and want to learn more and watch more. But that's kind of one of the common mistakes I see is people will just throw a video up there and not really understand, am I using it properly, or can I just get it up there and blast it up? That's not always the case. You have to have a specific reason why this video is being posted about you or about what you're doing. Post it. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw it up there or just put it on the website. I'm sure people will watch it. But that's a couple of common mistakes I see there.
Yeah, and you know, I think that stems from because depending on who you are looking to for the information, and I've seen it several times, and you hit like two things. One is the professionalism, right? Because it's like, you know what, just yeah, you have this right here is all you need, and yes, you can, but you have to learn how to use the tool correctly and effectively. And they say just you know, just record, it doesn't matter as long as you're putting content out there, that's all that matters. And to a certain extent, yeah,
Right.
but I think what happens is some of the artists, they hear that and they're just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna grab it, I'm just gonna record this and I'm gonna post it. But I think they forget to look at it from a perspective of a potential client. It's like, what is the potential client gonna say? Like, how is he gonna look at this video and go, oh yeah, I definitely want to go there and get my SMP, you know, done from them. So like I think it depends on where they get in the information, because even me in the very beginning when I was doing all my own stuff was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna grab any and everything. I was plugging a GoPro, I was getting all these different angles, and when I look at them now, I go, wow, that's trash. Like, why would anyone, like, what are they gonna know? No one's gonna get, oh, he's selling, you know, SMP, like this is his services, XYZ. And you can't just put anything out there, and you do need certain tools to help make it look professional. I know, like I said, you know, it depends who you're listening to. Like, they'll tell you, oh, you don't need a tripod, you know, just steady your hand, XYZ, but you're doing so much and you don't really realize, listen, you can get something like this right here for 20 bucks, and this thing extends and you can put it and direct your phone right over it, so it's got some control, there's no waving and all that around. Or like you said, Pete, keep a short little burst, you know, 10 seconds, stuff like that. But I'm going to stop that right there, and I'm going to just take this as an opportunity to let you guys know me and Pete are in fact working on a one-day class to help you guys take your content to another level. And it's not just, oh, come in and just use your phone. Like, we're going to teach you guys how to effectively communicate. We're going to show you guys some of the apps, some of the tools that we in fact use, some basic, you know, tripods that you can buy, things that are cost effective, and how to use your actual, you know, you got a $1,400 phone and it
Yeah.
creates great video. It's just some of you guys don't know how to, you know, the correct settings. And then we'll also show you how you can do it on a DSLR or mirrorless camera, which is what we've now upgraded to. Listen, I'm not knocking this. I went from this, and now we have, you know, we got a three camera setup now. But you can, you know, you take your time, you'll get there eventually. But we're looking to put a one day, you know, one day course together. I'm gonna you know, I'm gonna introduce, you know, Pete again, another side to the world. I'm gonna let him loose. I'm not gonna, you know, keep him to myself like that anymore, because I just genuinely want to see a lot of you artists succeed. And I know how big social media and content creation is and what it can do for you and the business. And that's that, because I don't want people to think like, oh, this guy's new, he's trying to sell something. Just letting you know we're working on something for you guys. All right. So Pete, what tools, speaking of tools and resources, do you use or do you recommend for SMP artists that are looking to improve their social media presence and their content creation?
I would highly, highly recommend a few different tools. One, especially if you're having trouble scripting out, Chat GPT. I'm sure you've heard of it. One of AI is getting blown up the wazoo now. Ever since Chat GPT came out, you could ask it anything and it will find it. It will write something out for you. You could ask it, write me a 30-second script on how I can tell more people about how video content is great. It will spit out a script for you.
Yeah.
So that's one big tool I would recommend if you're having trouble coming up with a couple ideas. Throw it in ChatGPT and it will help develop that for you. Another tool I would recommend is Canva. Canva is another tool that's blown up that you can create all different kinds of posts. You can put things on pictures if you have pictures. You just want to brighten it up, make it look nicer. I highly recommend that as well. And then another one is actually in the Adobe family. It's called Premiere Rush. Um, that's a very inexpensive tool that you can just grab off Adobe's website, and you can edit on that platform, and you're able to just do that on your phone actually. And I highly recommend that. Those top three: your scripting, your branding on top of the social media with Canva, and then if you're looking to do little simple edits, use Adobe Premiere Rush. So a couple few tools there for you.
And now, Chat GPT and Canva, correct me if I'm wrong. I know Chat GPT offers a free version, which is still very good, and they also offer a paid version. And what about Canva? Does Canva offer a free version?
Canva does offer a free version. ChatGPT is definitely free. The free version is just as good as the paid version. I think the paid version is just to get people to think, oh, pay for it and you'll access more, but it's essentially the same thing.
This is for Canva.
ChatGPT. Canva, I think if you pay for it, I think it offers definitely more variety. But Canva itself, the free version, still gives you enough and plenty to work with and get yourself going.
Got you. So you saying Chat GPT, the paid version and the free version is the exact same thing? It's a marketing stunt.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. It's, it's like with anything. It's like, oh, if you buy this extended warranty, on cars and stuff like that. So I'm trying to pull fast. Yeah.
All right. So, and again, guys, listen, these are, like he said, these tools are free to you. So if you want to, you're a new SMP artist and you don't got that money and you kind of bootstrapping, listen, there's no excuse. All right. You got Chat GPT that's going to help you. All right. Let's say you don't got it in your brain housing group to come up with a script for what you're going to use, what kind of social media content you're going to put out there. And let me tell you something. It's crazy. It's insane. I've seen what Pete does with this, even for his other clients, and he has clients in all different fields. And as long as you can prompt it correctly, it'll type out a whole script of the person that's talking, who's doing the introduction, even sometimes puts in parentheses what kind of music, light music, XYZ. Like, it literally gives you an entire script, and it's for free. If you're someone who just, you can't get the creative juices flowing, you have something that you could rely on to at least help you or plant the seed for an idea. So ChatGPT is definitely good. I know some people are just like, screw this, I'm not using AI, and it's kind of like, yo, bro, soon, like, absolutely everything is going to be AI.
Everything's going to
Jump on the
become
wave.
AI.
Exactly. Jump on the wave, because some new SMP artist is learning, he's practicing, he's going to get nice, he's going to start utilizing these tools, and he's going to run laps around you, and you're going to wonder, oh, well, why is he doing much better than I am? Why? Because he's utilizing all the resources that he possibly can, and he's killing it. So can you give us some tips for SMP artists that are looking to build a larger following?
So one of the ways to really start building a large following is you have to be putting out consistent content every day, at least 5 times a week. And you have to do that for at least 3 months. I would recommend 4 to 5 months, especially if you're just starting out, you don't really have any content out there, because that's what the algorithm looks for. It's like, okay, how do we push this post out organically? So meaning for free, if it'll push you out there, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there every single day for the next 4 to 5 months and pushing content, specifically videos, because remember, videos is the number one way to attract people's attention. So that's the best way to get a big following. And of course, that's between Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. It still goes down to, we need to post consistently for that extended amount of time to really start bringing in that big following.
And how about stories? You think stories, because you said you want to post a certain amount of times for the week, could you use those numbers as, like, with stories, not necessarily something that's just going to sit on your feed. But what about if you're going on to your stories 2, 3 times a day, 5 times out of the week? Is that something that'll help you too?
Believe it or not, the stories don't do too much for you because stories are very, very short. And, remember, when people want to view you specifically, especially SMP, they want to see relevant things about SMP. And remember, we want to brand yourself. So they want to be seeing content about you and opposed to others because they could look for others elsewhere. And we want to attract that following to you, to those SMP artists. So my recommendation is definitely doing between 3 to 4 videos a week and then filling the other gaps, couple photos, and then post that stuff on top of what you're already putting out. Post the video you just posted on your story. So then when people are going through their stories, like, oh, check this out. I posted a new video. Or, oh, what's this? And stories, as we know, give you a little snippet of what that maybe that reel is. And that's another way to attract a little more attention. And then they go to your page to look at that video.
Got you. So now if I'm doing all of that, right, everything that you just said, right, I'm doing that,
Yep.
posting on social media, 4 or 5 times out of the week. Obviously, I'm going to get some sort of engagement with other people and they're going to be leaving comments and stuff like that. Can you um tell us how important it is to actually now, all right, now you went out there, you went out your way, you got the professional equipment, you got good quality videos, you got hashtags, you got captions, XYZ, you got 10 to 15 comments on your video. Can you talk to us how important it is to actually engage with the audience on social media, and how could you do it effectively?
Yeah, so I think it boils down to a couple things. One, yes, it's so important to be engaging with your audience. So if they're, saying great video, or and they even ask you a quick question, and within that video or whichever the post may be, definitely engage with that person and, say feel free to message them on the outside, say, hey, if you want to learn more, give us a quick message, go to our website, because I think the ultimate goal too is we need to push them all to your website at the same time. We're getting a great following. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. Now we need to really drive that traffic to the next big part, and that's the website. So it goes between those couple things: is stay engaging with your audience on all your social platforms. Do not miss a beat. And then from there, if they want to learn more, push them to your website. And that's where you can really capture them. Those are my couple recommendations for that. But definitely, number one, engage with your audience always. That's so important.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm guilty of not doing that until you were like, "What are you doing, bro? You got these people, like even and a lot of them were other SMP artists." He was like, "You can't do that right now. Like you just assumed this responsibility of this podcast, and now people want to engage with you. Like you can't just cut them off like that because in return they're just not gonna listen to your podcast, bro. Like this is the not necessarily looking for attention, but showing you love." And I didn't really understand that because I was like, "All right, yo, that's dope. I got 15 comments." Like, nah, bro, you need to engage with every single one of them. And we were playing catch up, and he was like, now you're gonna reply back to them and then go back into their profile and send them a message and just like, hey man, sorry, I responded to you so late, XYZ, and just keep them there wanting to support you. So yes, it is important, and especially when you're dealing with a potential client, you definitely want to pay attention to when is someone that could potentially be a client who's asking you a question and you don't reply back to them, because that to them is like, well, he doesn't want my business, and they're just gonna go to the next SMP artist. It's just not a good look. They to them, to the potential client, is comes off kind of like rude. And I'm just saying that because these are messages that I've got, like so unprofessional. It's just like, bro, I'm sorry, man. I didn't see it. Um, looking forward, well, looking towards the future, how do you see the landscape of social media for SMP artists evolving?
What I really am noticing, I think it goes even beyond SMP artists, is it's just gonna keep growing and growing, and I believe there will be more platforms to come. And so I think it's essential for us to really plan out content we want to push out. ahead. We want to be able to say, all right, are we prepared to be able to say, do we have enough content ready to go if there's another platform that launches and explodes? We want to be right on top of it. I mean, look at TikTok. Originally, it was the youngest demographic, it was all the teenagers. And then a year and a half later, and we're talking a year and a half later, not 10 days, 20 days, a year and a half. So think about if those businesses, those small businesses that jumped on TikTok that much later, if they jumped on it sooner, where might they be now if they did it earlier? So I think it's always important to keep in mind, prepare for the future and get yourself ready because there's going to be another platform. There always is. So just prepare in your mind. Let me get content, keep going. Let's keep pushing it out, but let's also prepare for another platform to just pop out of nowhere and that's going to explode as well. So definitely that.
Yeah, for sure. I kick myself in the butt sometimes with the whole TikTok thing because I did not. I looked at it and I was like, which is surprising to me because I'm not an ignorant person like that off top. Like I like to do my research before I make a definitive decision. And I just felt like all I associated TikTok was with dancing. And I was like, I'm not going to be dancing. Like, this is what I do. I do SMP and then, got the other businesses, but I was like, how am I even going to bring that? Like, what am I going to be doing? Like, I'm going to be working on a client and then I start dancing. And you know what? Had I done that, probably the follower would have been crazy because I do that shit now anyway here when I'm with the clients. I'm making them do crazy stuff anyway because that's just me. That's like the vibe, the environment. That's the culture.
Exactly.
Built here. So I didn't take advantage of that. But whatever, it is what it is. Threads just came out a few days ago. I jumped on and I've been posting every day. So I'm on it, guys. So Pete, before we wrap things up, let the listeners know what are some of the current content creating packages that you are now going to be offering for SMP artists.
But for me, one of the biggest packages I offer, and it's definitely overall, is creating micro content, and that's just the same thing as the short form videos for social media. But I call it micro content because it also sounds really cool. The three ones I definitely offer is that package of 12 video, excuse me, 12 videos, and that gives you at least 3 pieces of content each week for 4 weeks. So that gives you a month's worth of content. At least you're filling out 3 days. And then the other two is, all right, we're going to post 5 videos a week. So that gives you 20 videos for the entire month. And then, of course, my next package is we're going to be pushing videos out every single day. And that's 30 videos per month. And those are really like the three key they're like tiers, for example. So the lowest tier is the 12 videos. That's what's get you started. And then if you really want to say, let's get out there quick. That's where you're going to say, we got to punch out 20, 30 videos in a month's time and just get ourselves out there, beat that algorithm and get us exploding.
So now how would that work if I wanted to take on the 12 video package? Are you coming to me to record the video? Am I recording the video and then sending it over to you and then you're going to turn that into micro content?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways actually. So one of the ways is, I come to you or, we could find a small quiet space and we just shoot out the content in one day, get it all done. The other way is, and this is something I started offering recently, is teaching you how to shoot on your phone and doing it in that proper sense. And again, coming to you, being able to say, all right, we're going to do this, this, and this, and I'm going to show you this is how we shoot content, vertically on your phone, and then show you, all right, this is how we're going to be able to edit for you. I can do that portion. I tell you how to shoot it, give you a couple ideas, and then you throw it over to me and I can put some edits together, all that fun stuff. So that's definitely the other package that I offer is, being able to teach you how to shoot on your phone and then edit that on the back end so you don't have to worry about that.
Outstanding. So like, obviously, our listeners, we're spread out all over the world. and in the country. So
Exactly.
just to reiterate, you can, in fact, if I have the equipment that's going to give me the good quality of video that you need to work with, can just go in front of the camera, do what I got to do, right? Let's say if I just want to, kind of like what we've been recently putting out, just me in front, and I'm just giving out advice, tips, or tricks, and send that over to you. You're going to take it, cut that into what, 30-second to 60-second videos with some captions, XYZ, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And I would even say between 15 to 30 seconds, especially with our attention span just keeps dropping. But yes, from anywhere, I'd be able to teach you how to shoot, whether it is on camera, using that professional DSLR mirrorless camera or phone, and be able to edit those for you on the back end from anywhere.
Hey guys, let me just tell you something real quick before you hear like, oh, I don't got to buy another camera. These things are expensive. I just bought 3 of these Sony EOS RPs. It's their entry level, for the most part, full frame mirrorless cameras. And I paid less than $750 for this camera. And it serves many purposes. One, I use it to shoot the YouTube videos, the talking, like the head videos that you see me put in, which is what I send over to Pete. And it even serves as a webcam. So like, look at my quality of how I look. Like I'm shooting, this is my DSLR. So for $750, it's really not that bad. And you don't have to get too crazy with the lens. I think this is, the lens that I'm shooting with this is a kit lens. So this is like a 24 to 105, and I think I paid $300. So in total, I was in $1,000. So yes, when you're first starting out, maybe you don't have the 1,000, but I'm just letting you know, especially if you're not undercutting yourself as an SMP artist, you're not doing these $250 procedures and you're charging accordingly, you're getting $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 for a procedure. Guess what? Now you can afford a camera like this, and you're going to be able to put out good content, especially something that looks professional, kind of like what you spoke about earlier. You want that professional look. You don't want that look, because clients are going to look at that too, and they're going to see like, well, why am I going to give this person this large amount of money to do a service, to provide a service for me? But look at the kind of like content they're putting on. People are so ignorant now too, that they'll just look at that and totally judge your professionalism off of something like that. Like, oh, he's got crappy visuals looking social media. That means this person really doesn't take his business or his brand seriously. Yeah, so sorry about that, guys. Sometimes I get caught up. I go into a little bit of tangents. This is the first time I do this. I'm a little nervous right now. I'm putting my guy out there for you guys. It took me a little. I sat down and I was like, man, do I really want to present Pete to these vultures? But we spoke about it. I'm ready for it. I'm doing good enough, and I just, like I said, I want you guys to take advantage of this. I want you guys to be successful in this industry, because I know it can be tough, but when you have good video, it does make things easier. So that being said, Pete, before we wrap things up, let them know where it is that they can reach you, websites, social media, all that good stuff.
So first part, and it's probably the easiest way to reach me overall, is just go to my website. It's www.McCueStudioProductions.com. You can contact me through there. My email's there. All my social platforms are there. Everything's connected. So that's one of the best ways to reach me. You can even set up a one-to-one as well, and I'd be happy to jump on a call and see how I can help you.
Outstanding. All right, guys, there you go. You got the information. You want to step up your social media content, you know who to contact, my man Pete, or you can send me a shout and I'll direct you right over to him. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. Thank you again to my man Pete. Pete,
thank you, my man.
Coming over soon. We got about 5 minutes. We got work to do, bro.
Yeah, we do.
Until the next time, peace.
So feel me rain from behind. Black rain, peace student in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain, elements of mine. So feel the rain from behind. Black rain, peace student in the game. Black rain, through the struggles and the strain. Black rain. sorta like a killer devil rebel. The getaway cars are the sounds of the bass and the treble. Cause I get into mine able and